Here's another set that holds a lot of memories here at Channel 6. Let's take a look at it. For our special program tonight, we've assembled part of the set of what was the longest-running children's program on local television.
Let's Tell a Story.
Let's see. It was produced in conjunction with the Council of Jewish Women, and it ran from
1951 until 1974.
That's right.
We even found the tree
Here it is.
that was the center stage for many of those early productions. And now we'll see a film clip of Let's Tell a Story from the 1960s. Today's story is Plum Pudding for Christmas.
That voice sure sounds familiar.
Thanks. You know, Meg, we can't forget those early programs for the kids. They may not have lasted as long as Let's Tell a Story, but we certainly have as many memories of them. In the days before midday, Terry Fleffrich was Miss Muffin to many youngsters. We're talking about the mid-50s now, and I bet a lot of our viewers who grew up at that time came down here to the DSU studios just to appear on the show and sit on her lap. Then there was also the Tip-Top Spaceship featuring Bob Nelson and Al Becker. Adventures in Space with Al Shea as Deputy Oops. A real favorite was Captain Sam with Bayou Bill. The captain would tell a nautical tale or two, and then Bayou Bill would ask the kids to send in the drawings, which he called Bayous.
Oh, good grief. And I remember Wayne Mack as the Great McNutt. He was on the air from 1959 to 1965.
He was?
Now, I'm going to test your memory for a little bit of trivia.
All right.
Do you remember what Wayne used to shout to all the children as he was getting ready to start the children's programs?
I don't remember that.
You can't remember? Lights, camera, action, start the cotton pick and fill.
That's right.
How can you forget? I used to yell it at home.
This is your Esso Reporter with headlines of the world. Presented by Esso Standard Oil Company and your nearby Esso dealer. Remember, first, last, and always, your best buy is at the Esso Sign.
Good evening, everyone. This is Alec Gifford reporting. A Navy helicopter has flown 2 Americans and 1 Canadian released by the Cuban rebels.
That
The
sure
US
is a
Naval
familiar
base at
face.
Guantanamo,
It sure is. That's
Right
our
at the
Alec
time of
as
emergency
the Esso reporter back in 1958. Actually, Meg, I had a stint as the Conoco reporter in the early 60s.
I remember you. You know, Bill, we've been talking about all of the local programming Channel 6 has done over the years, but we really have to acknowledge our news operation. Of course, we've been bringing you national and international news through the NBC network since the 1950s, but WDSU has scored a number of firsts. TV6 was the first station to televise statewide election returns. Bill, that was back in 1952. And there's Alec Gifford in front of the blackboards tabulating those election returns.
The station has garnered many awards for its news coverage, including the Emmy Award for a documentary on the Ku Klux Klan, which was photographed by M.J. Gauthier and Mike Lalla, and the Sylvania Award for coverage by Mel Levitt of the Kefauver Senate Committee hearings in 1951. And Meg, I'd also like to mention Bill Monroe, who was our very first news director in the 50s. He's now on NBC's Meet the Press.
In 1958, TV6 was the first station to broadcast editorials and later editorial cartoons. Among the news directors who gave those editorials were Ed Planer and John Corcoran, along with program director Jerry Romig. And the cartoonist, of course,
one of my favorite people, John Chase.
Now here's an excerpt from a rather unique editorial by Corcoran and Chase.
Youth may be having its fling in New Orleans, but around the world there were more serious matters attracting the attention of the serious-minded.
Faces can tell the story of other matters of importance going on today. Khrushchev is again threatening, this time his communist colleague. He stares daggers at Mao. Tomorrow, Goldwater brings a campaign for president to the city. His visit poses a problem for Skiro, who would like to be a good host and remain a good Democrat. But for New Orleans tonight, 4 young visitors from England seem to top the news.
Close your eyes and I'll kiss you. Tomorrow I'll miss you. Remember, I'll always be true. And then while pretend that I'm missing the lips I am missing, and hope that my dreams will come true.
We can't forget those other two special ingredients to a newscast, the sports and the weather. I'm kind of partial to the last one. You know, back in 1949, TV6 was the first station to televise coverage of the Sugar Bowl.
And Meg, in addition to the normal coverage of sporting events, TV6 also telecasts some of the races from the fairgrounds and wrestling from the Coliseum Arena in Mid-City. And so much a part of that time were Al Wester, Mel, Tiger Flowers, and later Wayne Mack after his great McNutt days.
Now, let's not forget the weather. For years, Nash Roberts let us know whether we should carry an umbrella or not. And then there was Russ Minshew and Dallas Raines. What a name for a weather forecaster.
Dallas Raines.
Dallas Raines.
Due to your response, we are